Hey, what's going on? It's Dr. Mike T. Nelson here, back again with the Flex Diet Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today is a little bit shorter episode, and it's one to tell you that I have some openings still in the Flex Diet Mentorship. So one of the questions I get a lot is, do you ever teach about the system of exercise physiology, assessments, working with clients online? And I've kind of vacillated back and forth about doing a product on it. And I decided as of a year and a half ago to put it into a mentorship. And the main reason for that is that I wanted to convey the principles that I've used, but I also want people to make it their own and to combine those principles with what they are already doing. So if you're new, then you can, basically just steal my system and apply it to your clients, which is fine with me. Or if you're a little bit more advanced, we can then have an ongoing discussion about how you would maybe add some of the components to it or how you would tweak it to make it a little bit better. So I wanted something that was more comprehensive and allowed for a lot more interaction, both between potentially myself and with people in the group. And it's primarily geared towards people who want to do online or hybrid training, because we do talk about marketing and business development, mindset, and personal development also. It's my biased opinion that the future is definitely going to be some form of hybrid model, especially after everything that's happened this past year. So even if you run an in-person gym, which is 100% training clients in groups or one-on-one or however you have it set up, I think having some form being online is going to be essential. One, because your business model may change. And two, I think people are looking for more holistic development. They're looking for nutrition. They're looking for some lifestyle help with sleep and even just simple movements and mobility. And a lot of you are already doing a lot of that, but unfortunately, clients may not be as bought in, and you're probably not making as much money from it as you could. The easiest thing I think to start is take nutrition and move that to an online environment. That's one of the main reasons I created the Flex Diet certification. And again, I created it, so I'm incredibly biased towards it. But most people who are exercising are looking for performance and body composition changes. So it's essential to have some form of nutrition that's not just, toss a new challenge at them every 30 days. Have it be an actual system and something that's not going to take you or your staff forever to do, which is why we created the Flex Diet certification. Another part too is that if you are doing online stuff, one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is spending too much money on stuff that probably just doesn't matter. So the goal of the Flex Diet Mentorship, and I did run this last year and it was successful, is to have it be kind of technology independent. Meaning you could start with literally just $30 to $40 a month for some software to send out newsletters, and it's about all you need. If you have a website, it can be useful. In some areas, you may need to create an extremely basic website, which you can do for not a lot of money. But you don't need to spend a ton to start out on advertisement or paid ads or paid traffic or spending $5,000 to $20,000 on a crazy website when you don't have any clients yet. And I've made that mistake before, where I spent a lot of money on new website designs, and I've had projects. One project in particular, I had invested probably about $10,000 in, and at the end of the day, I canned it before I enrolled a single person for various reasons. But don't recommend doing that. So there's a simple way where you can create content, you can distribute it, you'll be able to collect the email addresses of people, and all that means is that you can communicate with them whenever you want. So you won't be left to the whims of the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the YouTubes, whatever, when they change their algorithms. The downside of this is it's going to be a little bit slower. and you're going to have to learn how to create content. And we show you how to do that. It's not overly difficult. And if you can learn the skill of creating content, which I think everybody can, you don't need to be an award-winning writer to do it. This will serve you incredibly well in the future. Because if you look around at people who do online training as a business and have been doing it for quite a while, I can't think of almost a single exception that all of them have created a massive amount of content. Now, again, the goal isn't just to create content. There's a specific way to do it, and you want to be intelligent about it. But if you have the skill and learn the skill to create content, then you can apply it wherever you want. So as you grow and advance, if you want to do paid ads or paid traffic via other avenues, that's great. You already know how to do the content. If you have to hire out for content all of the time, in my opinion, it feels a little bit weird, and it gets extremely expensive really fast, and you kind of end up with this just conjointed kind of mess. So creating content, definitely a big key. So we talk about business and marketing, everything from creating content, how to do it, how to set it up, how do you get new clients in, what is the best way to see if they are a good fit, or what they commonly call conversion. This took me a while to figure out, and doing it without sounding like a complete slime ball the entire time, or a used car salesperson. So previous to this, I've never taken a single business class in my life. All my training was in physiology, chemistry, mechanical engineering. My PhD is actually in exercise physiology and nutrition. So I never took a single business class, never took an accounting class, taken a lot of statistics, but that's completely different. So when I started doing my own business stuff, I had no idea what I was doing, floundered around for quite a while, spent a lot of money for about 5 years. And then I ended up hiring a business coach. I started this, when did I first hire him? Almost 10 years ago now, I think. Yeah, 9 years ago. And at the time, it was $2,500 a month. And I about pissed myself to sleep at night because that was way more money than I ever invested in training other than education. And the good part was it was useful. Yeah, it took 3 to 4 months to kind of get going. I was still working part-time, was actually later on still doing my PhD. I thought my PhD was going to end, and it didn't, so that's why I hired the business coach and ended up having all 3 of them overlap for a period of time. But in hindsight, it was really good because it gave me focus on, okay, you're super busy, do these things, and here's what you need help with. And a lot of the thing that helped the most was, again, like I said, knowing what to focus on, and then how to actually write content in a specific way. If you've ever worked with really good editors, they do a fantastic job of doing this. So I've sent stuff in to like my good buddy Lou Schuler. I'm like, hey, I think this is, pretty good. And you get the article back and you're like, oh, wow, this is so much better. But yet still sounds like me. It doesn't sound like a different person wrote it. So if you have someone who's a really good editor, you can find those people. They are extremely valuable. But there's a way you can learn how to kind of edit your own copy. So one of the things the business coach helped me a lot with is we would go over ad nauseum how to make changes in just newsletters, how to make changes in just simple ad copy for websites, etc. And that was incredibly useful. After that, I did a high-end mentorship group, a mastermind for a while. And over the course of about just under 5 years straight, I spent $2,500 a month on either direct business coaching or being in a high-end mastermind. So if you add that up, it's $30,000 a year times about 5 years. It's $150,000 I spent on business stuff, and it was worth it. I mean, honestly, even now I look back at some of the connections I made, some of the things that I've learned. The marketing person that we work with right now, she was actually in the mastermind group, which was great. So we've been able to do lots of projects with her and her husband. And overall, it's been super useful. So I'm very grateful that I did spend the money at that time because it was pretty unnerving. It was definitely rocky for a period of time. And the main reason I wanted to do the online mentorship is just to help guide people through a process that I found that works and have you hopefully avoid a lot of the other common pitfalls and just weird stuff all the business gurus are preaching, I guess. I don't follow many of the business gurus anymore. And it's been good. I've been able to do online training as kind of the main source of my income for going on over 11 years now. So I've been doing my own business full time for coming up on 6 years. And my wife works for me. We've got one other part-time employee. We've got a couple of virtual assistants, subcontractors, and then we have a marketing person also. So the other part too is you'll learn about the assessment. So how to do that online, how to make sure that your life is easier, not kind of custom create everything from scratch when there's a lot of overlap. Second part is business and marketing. With that, just as deep as you want to go. The good part is that I've been doing this long enough that I know a fair amount of people in the industry. So if there's a subtopic that you really want to go deep on, odds are I can probably find somebody to help us out with that if it's something I don't have any direct experience in, which is another good lesson of when to learn to do stuff yourself or to just spend the money and hire out, and how would you hire that out. The third component is mindset. Talking about your own mindset and your client's mindset, especially online, you have the advantage of seeing emails and you can read them and you take a little bit of time to get back to people. And it gives you a faster way of seeing into their mindset, how they write things, and then also your own mindset. How does your brain take information? How does it filter it? Can we actively change some of those things? Which we can. And the last component is personal development. Everything from how do you keep yourself and your family and other things a priority as you're doing this, because a lot of people just burn themselves out. And yes, there's a time and a period where you may need to work harder than others, but how do you set up boundaries from, say, your start time, your end time, boundaries with clients? How often can they reach you? Do they have your cell phone? Do you get back to them in certain times? Have you effectively communicated that to them so that they know what the boundaries are? How do you manage taking in new information? How do you manage getting things actually done, deadlines, etc.? So we cover all of that also. So if you're interested in this, the downside is the applications are closing this Friday, June 4th at midnight. So send me an email before that time, and I will send you an application to fill out. So on purpose, I have not put a link to the application anywhere here because your first step is to find a way to email me, which shouldn't be too hard. You could email me, you could even direct message me. So I'll actually be on social media checking those things this week. A lot of times I am not. But if you are interested, email me and then someone will get you an application. And it will start right after that, so the first part of June. So coming up very close. If you're listening to this, June 2021. And we'll probably run it once or twice a year. Now, I say probably because I'm not entirely sure. I was planning to start it this past January, and due to other schedule commitments, I just didn't have the time to do it. And I didn't want to promise something that I couldn't deliver on because it's very limited in the number of people that we do. Mostly that's just because the amount of time it takes me to edit stuff and to think of better ways for people's writing and homework. Does take a while, but I really enjoy doing it. The one we did last time went really well. So if we get enough people, we'll do it again this year. If not, maybe the start of next year, and eventually kind of working up to doing it, like I said, once or twice a year. So if you are interested, find a way to email me, ask about it. It does last 6 months. There is some homework involved. So your time commitment per week, depending on how fast you are at creating content, is around 5-ish hours. And that may be on the high end. The amount of material that we go over per week will take you about 1 to 2 hours to go through. And then we have required homework on purpose. And then you get full access to me if you have any questions, access to other people in the group. Here's what Ryan said about it from last year. Quote, "The Flex Diet Mentorship provided me everything I needed to evolve my coaching business into something I can be proud of. Everything from lead generation to my onboarding process to client assessments were improved as part of being in the Flex Diet Mentorship. Not only does Dr. Mike teach you an effective framework you can use to improve your business, he also provides invaluable coaching skills to make you a better coach for your clients. Weekly assignments help reinforce the lessons that you learn, and the knowledge sharing between Dr. Mike and the other mentees provided invaluable insights into the way other coaches are running their own businesses. Since completing the Flex Diet Mentorship, my coaching business has grown to the point where I now have an active waiting list, and know that this was due to what I have learned in the Flex Diet Mentorship," from Ryan Baxter. So thank you, Ryan. Really appreciate it. You did awesome with all the material. So again, obviously we can't promise or guarantee you're going to have a similar result, but this is the same system I've been using for over 10 years now, and everyone who did the mentorship last year is doing much better. So that's a little bit more of a kind of ad podcast type for today. We've got a brand new episode for you coming next week. Also, for those interested, the Flex Diet certification will open again in mid-July, and the physiologic flexibility certification will open again mid this month, June 2021. So if you're interested in the Flex Diet Mentorship, find a way to email me to get in the application sent in by this Friday, June 4th, 2021. Thank you so much. Really appreciate everyone listening. Take care.